Welcome. Today I'm going to speak to Sanjeev, our CEO. We'll speak a little bit about the processes we follow to get the user experience right. So is there any process or best practices using which we can arrive at the optimal user experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a lot of scope for innovation, and that is what we have seen, that putting a good process, a method, uh, uh, which essentially leverages a lot of very proven techniques. For example, the design thinking has been around for quite some time, and then what we are seeing is that these initiatives essentially can leverage a lot of things which is already available, right? So we typically follow a process that we call a discovery and a concepting phase, and the idea, it's essentially, it kind of blends a number of techniques, and some of the things are, for example, whenever you go for design thinking, it requires a bit of uh, I mean kind of approach which allows errors to be made, it's experimentation to happen, right? Apart from that, there are social science aspects in which you essentially try to gain an understanding of who your audience are, right? So some of the techniques that we use is to basically learn about what the business aspirations are, right? So that's one set of expectations, that how do you make the brand come through, what's the promise of the brand, what are you trying to emphasize to your end users, right? That's the business perspective. Then there is a perspective of the socio ethnography aspect of who the users are, what's the kind of expectations they have, what are the application or the interface they are most comfortable with, right? So that's another perspective. And then there is a perspective about technology, to say that what kind of uh, technology advances are available, right? What's feasible, what is not, what kind of constraints you have to deal with, right? It may be in terms of devices, it may be underlying technologies, right? So how do you take cognizance of all of this, right? And from this you try to uh, bring about an optimal solution, right, which blends all of that and still comes out with something where you essentially can say that we make complex beautiful, right? So that's the underlying theme, that how do you take all that complexity but kind of convert that, take out these complex element and still present that in something which is aesthetically beautiful, it's intuitive for end users to kind of work with your applications, and that also delivers the promise of the application or the business. Basically, it kind of brings out the whole personality and the assurance that brand stands for, right? So these being very core, I think. So what this process does is that uh, by uh, by kind of blending all these elements together, it ensures that the development, the whole design and development of the whole application or the initiative essentially draws from these core principles which have been established during the discovery phase. They essentially becomes the guiding lights for the future phases, right? And anything that you try to do, you essentially are uh, making it high fidelity based on this low fidelity framework that has been worked out. So that's what we try to do, that in discovery we essentially lay an overarching set of guidelines, a set of directions, principles, which essentially allow everybody to kind of stay true to the core of what that digital initiative is about.
Thank you. Thanks, Sanjeev. With this, we come to a close of this discussion.